What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Method in the Madness. This is the podcast that not only delves deep into design and creativity, but also leadership, productivity, and personal development. And we are at episode 7, and in this episode, I get to sit down with Jeremie Warner, who is the founder of a company called Power Life. And they are a fantastic social business that sell a variety of different smartphone products, such as charge packs, phone cases, and cables. But besides their awesome products, the best thing about Power Life is that for every product that they sell, they donate a solar lamp to a child in a developing country, which is just awesome. The one for one thing just allows these kids to be able to study once the sun goes down because they obviously have no electricity. And I came across these guys after somebody on LinkedIn shared a video of theirs. So I just reached out to Jeremie, see if he wanted to come on the show, and he kindly said yes. And he's a great guy. He's super passionate about what he does, and we chat about a whole kind of host of different things. But we cover Jeremie's personal journey and what inspired him to start Power Life in the first place, but also kind of what inspired him to use the one-for-one business model as well. We discussed the many twists and turns and struggles they have gone through to even get Power Life off the ground and kind of running as a business, because it took him a few attempts. But Jeremie is also a bit of an open book, He was happy to answer anything and everything I had for him, and he's very open and transparent when it comes to his learning curve dealing with, investors and trying to make a social business that uses the one-for-one model work properly as well. And then also we chat about the future of Power Life, like where he wants to take it and where he sees the potential for growth with the kind of model that they're using. I say it in the podcast, as you'll hear, but I also say it here too. Before Jeremie came on the show, I bought a couple of their power packs and a phone case, and I was a heavy skeptic. I was totally skeptical as how good the quality of these products were going to be because it was a social business. I thought the product might have kind of been hindered because a lot of the money will be going towards the solar lamps, obviously, but I couldn't have been more wrong. The products, they're genuinely ace. They're really good. The power packs especially they're small, they're light, and they charge your products insanely fast. And they're actually like lovely design as well. And during this quarter, for the rest of the year, Power Life are running their Give the Gift of Light campaign, where basically any product that you buy from them, they will donate 2 solar lamps instead of 1. And how can you just not get behind that? Get yours today at powerlife.com. And with every purchase that you make, you will be donating 2 solar lamps to a child who desperately needs it. Anyway, without much further ado, please welcome Jeremie Warner to Method in the Madness. Jeremie, thank you very much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
When I scroll through my LinkedIn and I see that someone's shared a video, especially on LinkedIn, it's usually a load of crap, and I don't pay attention to it, and I scroll right past it. But I actually stopped and watched the Power of Life one that was on somebody's profile that somebody shared. I can't remember who it was, but I'm very glad that they did, and it totally, genuinely blew me away. It's such a awesome cause. And it was a great little video. It was the origin story video. So it was like a kind of 6-minute thing that discussed the whole thing of Power of Life.
Right.
And then quick Googling, and obviously judging by your accent, it turns out you're based in Glasgow. So immediately reached out to yourself and see if you'd be interested in coming on the show. And here you are. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Power of Life is a social business that sell a range of smartphone products. So like charge packs, awesome phone cases, and for everyone you sell, you donate a solar lantern to children in places such as Africa and beyond. Awesome idea.
Thanks very much.
Very awesome idea. I've got 2 of them myself, plus a phone cover, and can vouch for that they are the absolute shit. And I'm not just saying that. And this might not be the best way to kick off this conversation, but
go for it.
Basically, because it is a social business, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of almost expecting the quality of the actual product that you get in return to not be the best or like the most well-designed or slickest design or whatever it is. And I've not owned, but I've seen charge packs before and things like this.
Yeah.
But these ones are awesome. They're so well, niftily designed.
Yeah.
they're super light for one, because a lot of charge packs it feels like you literally are carrying like a car battery, and yeah, they're absolute wicked. So I was like pleasantly surprised at the quality of not only the product but obviously the actual whole idea behind the business
Glad
as
to
well.
hear it. I mean, with you 100%. So, like, I think some well, try not to name too many names, right? But like other folk in the social space, buy to give businesses, percentage of profits, there is maybe like quality that perhaps suffers, or that's the perception that consumers have of social businesses, social products. But yeah, for us, quality is key first and foremost. I'm a avid smartphone user, MacBook Pro, all the
Yeah.
iPads, the iPhones. So for us, the product has to stand up because we use it ourselves. So yeah, great to hear that
Yeah.
your experience has been a positive one as well.
Nah, like absolutely. Like, how did it all come about then? Like, what
Great
inspired
question.
you to start Power Life?
So the origin of the company, I studied architecture at Strathclyde Uni in Glasgow, and between third and fourth year, you need to take a year out in practice to gain professional experience. I did 6 months in Singapore, 6 months in the Netherlands, but it was in Singapore where I thought I was working my dream job. It was multi-million-pound mansions for mega wealthy clients, private beaches, private islands.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like you name it, we were specifying it. But what I found really challenging was that the houses I was designing were being built by barefoot Bangladeshi construction workers. And at the height of the credit crunch, I had the feeling that, you know what, the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor. The world's falling apart around us, and there's not much that we can do. So at that point, came back to uni to finish the honours and the masters, and decided to gear all of my studies towards humanitarian design to put those design skills to use for the poor, not the rich.
Awesome.
What was a dissertation turned into a live master's project where we were putting this design thesis, design knowledge into practice, and headed out to Senegal with nothing more than phone number for a contact that someone said we should go and speak to, a chap who ended up being our project coordinator on the ground in Senegal, and decided to run a children's photography workshop. So the workshop was designed to ask 10 questions of the kids, and it was answered with a photograph. Questions range from things like, this is my family, this is what I eat, all the way through to, this is my favorite place, and this is something I would like to improve.
Right.
And for us, it was really important to see the problems that communities were experiencing through the eyes of future generations. If we were going to design solutions with these humanitarian design, participatory design practices, it was important that it was kids that were showing us the problem to get community buy-in. And the biggest challenge that we identified that informed everything that we're doing with Power Life was that none of the photos are being taken at night, because obviously everyone lives in complete darkness. They live off grid with no electricity. And for us, living with the villagers, it was every time we've been out to Senegal, we've always lived with our villagers off grid to experience the challenges that they have as they do. We were doing a 40-kilometer round trip to charge our phone, charge the camera, charge the laptop. So there was the idea. We need high quality portable power, so we'll sell power banks, and for everyone we sell, we'll give a light to a kid that we're working with. So buy to give.
That's awesome. Like, what inspired the photography project in the first place? Just to find the problem, like a creative way of finding the problem.
100%. So again, it's sort of a reaction to the credit crunch, where like a lot NGOs, charities, I guess they'll go in with, we have money to do this, and whether you want it, you need it, or not, this is what we're going to put the money into. Our approach was totally different. It was, we'll work in partnership with these communities, identify the problems together, and over a period of time, we'll design solutions in partnership, so that we knew that what we were designing would be both the community would buy into what we're doing, and it would have longevity, we'd have financial self-sustainability, etc., etc. So I mean, like we did design 36 ideas for the masters, right? Bringing it back to we were students at the time. We had to do an architectural thesis. So I mean, things like village granaries, micro drip projects, healthcare, sanitation.
Right.
But energy was the big one, and I guess we were frustrated that, as I said, the literally 40-kilometer round trip to get a plug in a local town at the market. And the kids were suffering in school due to a lack of not being able to do their homework. So we had a lot of ideas. We got community buy-in when we were designing them, but the one we were like, you know, this is a no-brainer, was we'll do the light stuff.
Yeah, that's ace. To start a business like that, you obviously need to find a way of physically donating these. You know, the idea is great, but you need people to find to actually donate them to, you know, the children who need them the most. How did you get started in terms of finding the schools, but also like manufacturers of the power packs
Yep.
and
Well, I
all
mean,
the things involved in
well, you
getting them
kind of, yeah,
there.
to get to where we are now, you fast forward close to 5 years, right? So like
Whoa.
it was a long journey. It took a while, right? Like it took a while. And my long suffering wife would, yeah, she, to her credit, incredibly supportive. Couldn't have done it without support from family and the wife and whatnot. But yeah, it took a long time. So I mean, the idea or the business, the company started with the need in Senegal and developing countries. We then came back, and I guess over the course of maybe 18 months, we went from those 3 dozen ideas down to two. The first was micro drip. So this was low cost, low tech irrigation equipment to grow high value cash crops like tomatoes, lettuce. And then the other one was lights for kids, is what we called it at the time, L4K. And I guess the reason Lights for Kids, which is now Power Life, came out on top was that it was viewed by investors here as the least risky, because it depended on making sales and revenue here in the developed world to do good in the developing world. Whereas the micro drip, it was microfinance, it was done remotely. Senegal's very far away. There's language barriers, cultural issues, corruption. So although both are equally, yeah, the demand is there for both of these initiatives. In terms of what was most likely to get funded, to gain traction, to gain investment, the buy to give model was, seemed to be the least risky for investors.
Awesome. And what was it, obviously the need for the solar lamps? Like, did you take both of those ideas to investors and they gave you feedback?
So
or
that's where I say like this, like 18 months of just going, like pivoting, refining, doing cash flows, forecasting, like where can we source these products, like who could be a manufacturing partner. And over the course of those 18 months, it was like, well, Lights for Kids is coming out on top here. And like the investment journey, I mean, we could probably do a whole episode on raising investment for a startup. For us, I mean, raising investment is challenging for everyone that does it, right? Like no two journeys are the same, and I'm sure it's difficult for everyone. Ours was, I would say, particularly painful. So from start to finish, raising the investment was, again, it was probably close to 2 years where, and like, no holds barred, any question, and fire away, happy to talk about it. Like I would suggest that we got involved with the wrong people as shareholders in the business, and in the end, it proved to be very difficult to untangle ourselves from that.
Yeah.
So there was sort of a hiatus in trading where we launched, we traded the WePal 1.0, we got to market, started to gain traction, investor interest, retailer interest, and then we sort of hit a brick wall when it came to actually how do we fund this properly. So after bit of a painful one, we had to sort of effectively shut down the business, take a breath, come at it again, and again from start to finish, that was probably close to 2 years as well. So that was the guarantee.
Must be quite difficult because, like, obviously you're like, yes, it is a business, but it's also a massive passion project for you. So you're probably just desperate to get it off the ground, and you'll take any funding that's coming. You'll be like, "Fuck yes, like I'll have that." So, like, to actually put your business head on and go, actually, this isn't the right decision for us, must be a pretty bold.
It was made for us. I mean, like, I think Gary V eat shit, right? Like we had guys eat shit and do it for as long as it takes. So like I delivered Domino's for 12 months, right? Like we put that to bed. We needed to sort of take our time, do it properly. Lawyers involved, accountants, all that nonsense, to get it right. And I think that it's sort of like a period in the journey that like we'd like to completely forget ever happened, because we did get to a point where one of the national retailer in the UK supermarket was super keen. We had interest from like big high street chain. There's one in Glasgow and there's one in every major UK city, and then it just disappeared into thin air. And there was distribution involved in that as well. So we're back on our feet now, right? Like the investment closed last May. We're a year into trading this time round, and the opportunities are different, but is equally as exciting. But as you said, passion project. We weren't prepared to give up. We got a taste of where this thing could go the first time round, and thankfully we're getting that taste of it again this time round.
That's awesome. Did you have to like? I wouldn't know the first thing about sourcing a solar lamp. Never mind one that's good and does the job that you want it to do.
Totally,
Like,
totally.
obviously, you don't want to be donating these
Any
guff
old
solar
rubbish,
lamps.
yeah.
And they're like, this is
Yeah.
crap. Send it back.
Yeah,
You know, was there a bit of like a testing process to find the right
For sure.
products to actually donate, as well as find
100%.
the right products to sell?
All that. So yes, short answer, yes. But it did take a while. So I mean, like we have an awesome man. So I guess last count, there's maybe like 150 different SKUs, different products. 'Cause by
Okay.
the time you're doing 8 different phone cases for 12 different handsets, and then power banks in 5 color, right? It's like
Right,
the
yeah.
number of product, like the inventory is pretty big. So I think in total we're maybe 5 partners that we work with for the manufacturing. Solar light's been obviously a really critical one. But I think in terms of the quality, I mean, couldn't really be better, right? And of course I'm going to say that I'm
Yeah.
completely biased. You could drive a Land Rover over it, wouldn't break. You can leave it out in the rain for 3 years, wouldn't run out. You know, like it's
Wow.
it's legit. Like it'll do what it says on the tin.
We've got one here, obviously, for people listening, but it is awesome.
And it works, right? Like I think something that is we take completely for granted, but I think if anyone was
Yeah,
to
we
try,
don't often get to see
right?
the sun in this country, but
No, but like even just
you
like
still take it for granted.
living in darkness, right? Like we'll go home tonight, it'll be dark, and we'll switch a light on straight away. Imagine going home and never being able to turn on a light. So I think, and being a father of two young kids, Theo, my son, he will wake up screaming in the night, and I can put the light on for him. So imagine these kids like living in thatch huts in their homes, and you hear a scary noise in the night. But in Africa, that scary noise could be a tiger or a crocodile, right? Like, but not being able to turn on that light, that would be terrifying. So yeah, product quality for us on the solar light, paramount. It always works. It's reliable. You can run it over with a pickup and it will survive. And then on the power bank side, again, like we know the market for portable power is littered with really cheap product, right? You go on Amazon, you'll get 30,000 hits for a power bank. We do differentiate ourselves with extremely high quality, says what it will do on the tin, latest technology, good material finish, and the buy to give on top.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. How often do you get to, obviously you've partnered with schools over there and things like that, how often do you kind of get to see the effects of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, great question. So when we first started up, we were doing more Africa trips than we are now, right? Like, so I think in total, me personally, I've done maybe 2 months living off grid with our villagers in Senegal, over the course of 3 to 4 trips. That was maybe like 3-4 years ago at this point. Stephen, my co-founder, he did a couple of trips to Zimbabwe with the charity partners that we work with out there. My son was just born at the time, so I couldn't make the trip, frustratingly. But now I think we've got the business to a point where it is somewhat remote, the gifting, so we can ship lights directly to our charity partners, and they do the distribution for us.
Of course.
We do get reports and pictures. I think right now for us, like we'd love to go back, right? Like there's being a designer yourself, we don't have that 30-second clip of the kid doing their homework at night, right? Like we just don't have, and it's like it would be golden to have that to put through video and through the socials. But right now the focus is generating revenue, making sales, so we can do more of that. And then I think when we're like, I would like to think the next 6 to 12 months we'll be back out to go and see it firsthand.
What are like, apart from the obvious ones like electricity, like you were like in the origin story video that you guys have on YouTube, you're obviously like you're living like they would live.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like going from your cozy heated houses and beds,
pretty cushy over here,
bedside table lamps, iPhones, all this kind of stuff, to like no electricity, probably a walk for water.
And a long one, right? Like I would say super humbling. Like these people, they're not sad, right? Like I think there might be a perception that folk that live like this, dollar a day farmers, they must be unhappy. Nah, they're happier than we are. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not unhappy people. Their life is tough. Don't get me wrong. Like it's hard, and even just being a visitor hosted by our friends out there, it's hard for us to be there. So let alone living through it. But super humbling. So like one thing that happened to us was you have to negotiate with the village chief, right? Like every time you're staying, you're like, right, drink the tea, eat the food. Senegal, they have it's known as the Senegalese teranga, the hospitality.
Okay.
It's what they do. Every time you go to someone's house, you sit down, you have a bit of food, you drink the tea every single time. So by the time we'd done 13
Can't be
villages,
picky
no,
eaters over there.
and we suffered like that's a whole other story. We can talk about it in a minute. But yeah, with the food, we ate it, we drank the tea, but we suffered for it. But why we were so humbled, one of the chiefs, I think it was 4 or 5 wives. One of them was the one who volunteered to do our laundry. We were paying to get our laundry done. We were there for a long time. And there was a tiny amount of loose change in the pocket. It came back neatly folded with the change back on top, right? So they're not looking to rob you. They're not looking to steal from you. They're not unhappy. They're super welcoming. Couldn't be more accommodating, and an incredibly proud people, and rightly so. But the food's tough.
Yeah.
So like the couscous.
Are you normally a picky eater?
No. So like I'm so not picky. Like there's
I'll eat anything.
Yeah, there's nothing that I won't eat, but
unless.
So we're having fun when we're there, right?
Yeah.
So there was a big they're Muslims in Senegal, so the big religious feast, if you will, and we were told, no, you'll love it, it'll be incredible. We're like, slaughter, and I go, we're gonna have meat, it's gonna be amazing. And there's helping the guy slaughter, and we're like cleaning the tripe out the back with bare hands, and it came with the tripe in the couscous. It's like, that was a tough one to eat. And then by the end of that trip, I hadn't passed my driving test. It was a solo trip. I was like bush taxis, donkey carts to get through to Sharif in the town, and ended up on the back of a donkey cart, 6 hours to the local health centre overnight on a drip, tin roof shack. And at that point I was like, I need to go home now. I just can't be staying, because the food is tough.
God, I can't imagine. When you don't feel well in your own home, it sucks.
With like 40-degree heat, no aircon on a blow-up mattress, with no proper floor, and it's sand, and the closest doctor is a day's ride. You don't have a
tap that you can just get water out of immediately as well.
No.
Oh my God, that must have been rough.
But super humbling, right? Like,
well, yeah, of course.
Well taken care of, and the villagers were super concerned, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, right? Like my son, when he sees the videos and the promo material, is like, well, there's our friends, right? Like, and who wouldn't want to help your friends?
Yeah.
Right. So they helped us, and we're helping them.
Oh, what an amazing thing to like be able to kind of tell your kids and stuff as well.
Couldn't do it now though. Couldn't do it now. Suffered once, and I think that's enough.
In the origin story video, which if you haven't seen, please go and check out on YouTube. But in that video, you discuss how the lanterns have obviously kind of dramatically helped the level of attainment of these kids in schools. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So again, this speaks to the social enterprise sector, if you will, the buy to give. We went to great pains to actually measure the impact. I would suggest that there are very well-known brands that don't actually even measure the impact that they claim to be creating. So for us, a big point we wanted to prove was that if we're saying this is going to change kids' lives, we need to go and measure the impact that this is actually creating on the ground. And the way we did that was with our charity partner in Zimbabwe. So kids in Zimbabwe are tested every 2 weeks in their core subjects of English and maths, which is pretty rigorous. I wouldn't like to go through that curriculum myself, but it provided us with a really robust way of measuring the difference between the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
So we gave lights to P3, 4, and 5 in one of the schools and started to track the improvements in the grades. And what we were able to conclusively show, quantitatively and qualitatively, from feedback from the teachers, was that every single child in every single test in every single subject had improvements, with the biggest improvement coming in P5 maths, that went from a 19% class average pass rate up to 56% in only 2 months. So 8 weeks. They almost tripled their math scores.
That's mad.
Absolutely insane. And my wife,
19% is what
it's insane. It's insane. It like literally tripled their math scores. And coming like yourself, my wife's an educator, a teacher. My mum's a teacher, mother-in-law. So credit must be given to the teacher, right? Because you're not getting those results without a fantastic teacher But what was even more spine tingling is that kids in Zimbabwe in primary school, they can get 50% or above in English and maths by the time they get to P7, become eligible to graduate onto high school. And that's where the life changing stuff really starts to happen. Because if you
be a ticket.
If you think about what you learn in high school, like bacteria, percentages, like the economy, politics, geography, like literally the stuff that will change your life. So not that they don't get taught this, but you understand, like, why is it so important to wash your hands? Or like, how do I work out the profit margin on my dad's crop this summer? Like, that's the stuff that you're going to learn in high school. And there's a whole generation of kids now that are going to go on and do that. So yeah, it's again, like, it's one of the reasons that we're doing what we're doing is that we know that kids are getting better grades. They're safer when they walk home from school, and they're getting those better grades. And the difference between the kids that go on to high school versus those that don't is that they will live longer, they will earn more money, and they're more likely to lift themselves and their families out of poverty.
That's incredible. Like the fact that you have those results as well must be like, what was it like getting those in for the first time?
We couldn't believe it. We were like, "Are you serious?"
And is that a typo?
Is,
like,
is that for real? But no, like,
must also, like, selfishly as well, must also help for investors and things like that to actually prove that what we're doing is working. Like, we're not just giving you vanity metrics here. This is like real stuff.
Investors perhaps, but customers, right? Like, because we're a for-profit, profit for purpose, right? So like we want to sell more product to make more money to go and do more good. So from the explaining the message to customers, corporate customers, yeah, for sure, it's a big selling point.
How, and you can, dismiss this if you don't want to answer it.
Go for it.
How much do investors care?
Depends on the investor. So like my colleague Paul and I today were reflecting on this, where we have awesome investors. We have really good investors who, I mean, you'll get a mix, right, with any investor group into a company, whether it's a syndicated round or angel investors or whatever. There will be some that will be completely passive. There'll be some that will be very, very active, and we have that mix, right? We've got some investors that I've never had an email back from after the investment was closed, which is fine, right? Like, it's passive money, and they get the updates quarterly when everyone else gets them, but they've never replied. And then there's others that are involved almost in the day-to-day running of the business. So I think, yeah, for certain investors, the impact stuff is super important, more so than for others, right? Because like every investor has their own investment
agenda,
portfolio criteria, like their own ethos, or whatever you want to call it. So some will be looking just for like real commercial, want the return on investment, see the exit in 5 years. I think for us, we were able, because our investment journey was that long, we were able to make sure that we were, if you will, getting into bed with the right people. And I think that we're very fortunate that the investors that we do have, they're in it for the right reasons. It's patient capital. They want to see good being done with their investment, which they're seeing. And I think sort of more generally, the investment landscape, and certainly in Scotland, the UK, globally, more and more investors are looking for this type of investments that put money into companies that are seen to be doing
more
good,
ethical stuff as well. As well as, like, they all have their CSR remits and things like that they have to meet as well, I'm sure.
I would say it's driven by consumer demand, right? Like, consumers are wanting these types of products. Like,
absolutely, by the way, because that's another thing I forgot to mention at the start of the podcast. If you ask my missus, I was fully against power packs.
Okay.
Like, I was at a wedding recently and somebody had one in their pocket, out their suit jacket, and I was just like, what a twat.
What are you bringing that to a wedding for?
Yeah, I know. Like, what a douchebag. Yeah. Fast forward a couple of months, and I'm sitting on the couch with one because I can't be arsed going up to get my fucking plug.
Yep. Hey, you're right. Yeah, I'm the same.
I tell you what, it is so handy for traveling and stuff as well. And I've turned the corner, that's for sure.
Brilliant. Love to hear it.
Converted me. Like I was kind of discussing earlier, like with any passion project, whether it's obviously a business that you actually have to run and that is your career, or whether it's a podcast, or whether it's posters that you're making, or whatever it might be, you're so desperate to get it off the ground, and you just want to kind of get it going and keep progressing and moving forward, and you don't want to almost like take your foot off the gas, so to speak. How have you found that with obviously a business like Power of Life?
Yeah, sure. I think at the start we were doing the crazy hours, right? Like looking back and it was like, but what was the point? What were we gaining, right? Doing that, working till 10 on some business plan that I couldn't even find now.
Yeah.
But like I guess we never give up, right? Like so with a passion project or something that you're super keen on getting off the ground. Yeah, I mean that it's like it's a Richard Branson or an Alan Sugar, and it's one of these quotes where the successful entrepreneurs in that context, the one thing that they have in common is that they never give up.
Yeah.
Like everyone does it differently, and everyone takes different amount of time to do it. But the successful ones, the only thing they have in common is that they never give up. You know?
Absolutely. And do you have do you know to the number, like how many children you've managed to help with the lamp?
So we're probably approaching 1,000, right?
Oh, wow.
No, it's good. It's good. And but so in terms of the units sold, this month we'll do another 1,000, and it's probably looking like, I mean, fingers crossed, touch wood, we'll do like 3,000 by Christmas.
That's
Like
insane.
no, it's mad. It's mad.
This like, maybe not the right way of thinking about it, but that's like 3,000 solar lamps that kids wouldn't have had.
Right,
Like,
it's 3,000 lives changed. Like if you're trying to like what does 3,000 kids look like?
now have light at night
But that
that are powered by a resource that's always going to be there for them.
unlimited, right? Like in these countries that get sunshine 365 days a year. Should have mentioned this, like, but it's not just the kids, right? Like mum and dad, brother and sister, they've now got a light that it's replacing that kerosene lamp that's super dangerous and really expensive to run, or the cheap Chinese torch that needs them to spend money on batteries. So like we've measured the impact for the kids in the classroom, but the impact is far more reaching, right? Because the families in these countries are big. You'll have in Senegal, Sharif had 3 wives, dozen odd kids. That family's now got a light that they otherwise didn't have. So although it's a gift to the child to do their homework, once they've done their homework, we know that Sharif and his wives are using it to crack the peanuts for the harvest and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, the impact's huge. 3,000 kids, but the families are massive.
It must be like an awesome feeling when you.
No, it's class. It is class, and it's interesting.
Do you feel like almost selfish sometimes, like, because obviously at the end of the day you've got to run a business.
Yeah.
So
well, I was about.
Do you kind of go through that kind of tormented, like, I'm making money off something that is doing social good, like, all this kind of.
Well, there's 2 points I would say to that, right? The first is that, like, I'm a Scot, so I'm super humble, and it doesn't come naturally to be like the big I am. Like when we're selling to Americans, for example, we know that we need to go and bang on the door and give them the song and dance. So that there is that side to it. And then on the flip side, do we feel bad about making money doing what we're doing? No, absolutely not. Because if you compare us to the rest of the power bank market, no one else is doing what we're doing, right? There's a massive chunk of our margin that we use to gift solar lights. Now, there's a chicken and egg parts of this where we wouldn't be selling power banks if we weren't doing the gifting, and we couldn't do the gifting unless we're doing the power banks. Of course. But there are certain sacrifices that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that I guess I have made. So I don't feel morally I could ever buy a Lamborghini, right? Like I can't be the guy who's selling power banks to empower kids and also buying a Lambo, right? Like there's things that I know I can't do because of the nature of the business that I started.
Sure.
On that side, yeah, sure. There are things that I can and can't do, and my childhood dream of owning a Lamborghini.
That Lamborghini poster is now
it's never
in the bin.
Not gonna happen with this company, right?
No.
Can't be seen to be doing that.
But I can almost guarantee you that, it's like one of these big things that, they've done all the kind of biometric studies of what makes people feel good and, money, things, objective things, like makes you feel good for a very small period of time, but then make you feel like shit. However, giving your money away, helping other people is something that literally endorphins and everything that makes you feel better. Like we've got an endless tap of that, at least.
It certainly is a nice feeling. I think that we do often forget that we're doing it though, right? Like because we're.
Well, you must do because you're not not there.
No,
like it'd be different if you're literally like posting them through the letterboxes of these, different shacks and things like that. But at the end of the day, like you're again removed from it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it happens to us more often than it should. Where because we're so focused on sales right now, like we're a young company. We need to generate money to survive and to do what we're doing. That we have fully drafted an investor update and forgotten to mention how many kids we've empowered with the sales, right? Like, because we're so focused on cash flow, generating revenue, making sure shipments arrive, customers are happy, that we even forget that we're doing the giving of a solar light for every quantity we sell, right?
Oh well, you know, learning curve and all.
Right.
Like, what's it like for yourself? I presume that generating investors and things like that does not come easy. What have been some of the biggest struggles involved in running Power of Life and also getting investment? And
Yeah, cool. I think the challenges they just change. So when we first started, the challenge was what's the right idea that we should commit to. Then it was how do we raise investment to get it off the ground, and that felt like the hardest thing we'd ever done. And now the challenge is, so like up until we're away to China a week on Monday, so there's a whole load of challenges that we're hopefully going to fix by going back out. But up until that point, the challenge was how do we continue making money? Like e-commerce B2C was tough post investment. I think our experience.
You're probably not alone in that either.
Really hard. So Power Life 1.0, it was £20 ad spend on Facebook generating £400 of the checkout. No one else was advertising like we were at the time, like actually retargeting web traffic on Facebook. I mean, fair enough, folk were doing it, but there isn't the thousands of small businesses that are doing it now. So that didn't really work. We had done a bit of B2B selling before, so we're like, well, do you know what, we should refocus on that. It was in the business plan to do after year one, after year two, but that's now where we're seeing the real traction for sales. And now that we're doing B2B and we've sort of overcome that challenge, like touch wood, it continues. Momentum's increasing, so's the volume, order, and size. But now the challenge is how do we cope with doing 400? We did Edinburgh Uni 400 co-branded laser engraved power banks for them. That took 3 days on a laser engraver in one of our investors' basements. We're like, we can't be doing that for 3 days at a time. So now the challenge is how do we streamline manufacturing? So I don't know what's the challenge. What's the hardest thing? It's constantly changing.
Yeah,
it's always changing,
day by day, probably.
Yeah, and as we overcome one challenge, knock down one barrier, we're on to the next one to try and fix.
Like you were just mentioning B2B there, obviously that is. I can see that having such huge potential. Like it's a win-win-win situation. Like kids get lamps,
corporates get CSR, and high quality
corporates get CSR, but they also get pretty fucking cool power banks. Like absolute winner chicken dinner.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, I can see that really taking off. Like, and in terms of the laser etching, like one of your investors just happened to have one, or
it's mental. And so the link and LinkedIn. I mean, like, I'm such a fan of LinkedIn these days.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the organic reach on LinkedIn is insane. The first video we posted on LinkedIn got more video views than everything we had done on all other social channels on the first day. But if you watch some of the LinkedIn videos, you'll see the basement, right? So like when we're doing,
I think I caught the one you're talking about the other day when you're fulfilling all your laser orders.
So that's one of our investors. We describe it as the bat cave. So our investor's bat cave has a giant laser engraver, laser cutter, 3D printers. He's got the CNC around the corner, and he's super sound, and he's doing us a real favor and letting us use it. But it has got to the point where we're maybe intruding a little bit too much. Camped out in the house for 3 days. So yeah, the challenge we're now looking to overcome next week is to move all that back out to China.
And in terms of the goals for Power of Life, are you just obviously growth will be a huge part of what you have planned, but are you wanting to keep it, UK based? Are you wanting to just
global for sure? Like it's already going, and this is Brexit's not doing us any favors, and we don't really need to talk about it.
Not doing anyone any favors, but
I think it is already global. So we have customers in Europe, we have some customers in North America, and the challenge for us is how do we ship to these customers post Brexit without it's a whole supply chain conversation, but right now the product comes from China to us in the UK, which is part of the EU, which has trade agreements with most places in the world. We now need to move all that back out to the Far East so that we can ship directly to other customers, avoiding the nightmare that's going to be Brexit and tariff uncertainty and all that nonsense. So it's the aspirations. It's already very small, in a small way, a global business. We do have customers in Europe and North America. We'd love to do more and more of it.
Yeah, that'd be ace. Like every single, you were mentioning obviously LinkedIn, but every single video that I kind of see of you, not only is, I think vlogging about your journey and everything that you're doing is awesome, just to kind of see the behind the scenes. Like everyone loves seeing the two folk in a garage or back cave, for that example, and then they also love seeing the kind of results of what they're kind of doing. But you have such a massive passion for actually helping these kids and kind of what you're doing. Now that you've started and it's obviously garnered some success, do you have a responsibility that now leads? Is like, well, we can't fuck it up now.
And we've always had that. We've always had that, because when the first trip to Senegal, as daft lad, like two daft laddies trying to build a business that's going to change the world in a bedroom in Glasgow, you're making these commitments to people out there, being like, right, well, if we're we've always had that weight of responsibility on our shoulders, because if we're talking to villagers around about livestock projects, right, our farmers raise goats and we're asking what are the challenges, how could we fix that, they don't want you just asking this for no reason.
Sure.
So I think our ambition is massive, right? Like we'd like to do well out of Power Life and go and do the rest of the stuff that we talked about.
Yeah.
Right? This is the first of loads of ideas, right?
I can imagine, yeah.
Africa, to my mind, or the continent, it's a land of opportunity. Like there are so many opportunities to do things that are worthwhile, impactful, financially rewarding as well, right? Like all that good stuff all on the same package. So yeah.
Wow. And the 1-for-1 model, I've always been curious about this, because I was first introduced to the 1-to model by Tom's,
of course,
and that's kind of why I started off the podcast with saying that I was really impressed with the quality was really good of your products, because I fucking hate Tom's shoes. They're the most least comfortable things in the world.
Nice.
I could just be my feet,
but
they just tear my feet open, something rotten. But I've always wondered, does the 1-for-1 model come with its own unique set of challenges?
Oh, hell yeah, for it. Interesting. So Tom, great example, right? Like the Tom's logo was on my laptop until today as a sticker. I have.
What happened today?
Fuck Tom's. It started peeling around the edges. I was like, "Oh, this looks terrible." I am a fan, right? Like I
love the brand.
Yeah, I think
just
not
the shoes.
I've got a few things to say about Tom's, I would say. First off, right, like haters are always going to hate, right? So like the scrutiny of the 1-for-1, buy one give one, haters are always going to hate. Tom's is a $1 billion business that has empowered tens and tens of millions of kids with shoes.
Yeah.
Well, you can't point to any other company that's done that, right? So like even if you're skeptical about the impact to the local shoemaker in the town where the kids are receiving the lights, I can understand that, right? And like we are looking to avoid those challenges as well. But from the consumer point of view, I would ask, like, haters are going to hate. Who else is doing this on that scale with that amount of success? So credit where it's due to Blake, the founder of Tom's. Good on you. The innovator. You started for us. Buy one, give one. Certainly got legs on it. For us, the challenge is we never wanted to be, or we never want to be displacing the local entrepreneur on the ground who sells kerosene for the kerosene lamps or the batteries for the torches. We would rather partner with that guy and provide him with product that he can sell that is renewable. Because the challenge for the local entrepreneurs in the boutiques, in the market towns that sell these kinds of products, is they simply don't have access to high quality solar lights from an awesome supply partner.
Sure.
We want to be that guy that can supply them with that product. Now we're not at a scale yet where we can be doing that. But when we have faced questions around, are there pitfalls, are there challenges? Well, yes, there are. We just never want to be the folk that are displacing that local guy who's supporting his family selling those types of products. We would far rather partner with him so that he has these products to sell for himself.
Sure.
And the reason we do gifts of lights to kids, like firstly, it serves as an education tool for families to understand, well, what is a solar panel, right? Like they might not know, a lot of them don't. So there's that education piece to it. And secondly, it's when although it's kids that receive the lights, we give it to the school, right? It's like the lights are a gift to the school for the school to administer to make available to the children. So it's not, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is we're not looking to displace local economies. We're not looking to displace local entrepreneurs. It serves as an education tool, and it's a gift of light to the school. But our ambition, I mean, when we first started looking at how can we empower the kids, it was solar panels on the school, too expensive, would never pay itself back. It's like, what's the next smallest thing? What about charging batteries that they can take home? It's like, again, too cumbersome, too difficult. So literally the smallest thing we can give is the solar lantern. But we know that mum and dad would like one themselves. They probably want panels on the roof that we would love to sell them through our local distributor who works in the market.
But who knows what the future might hold, you know? Like, how
Yep.
epic would that be?
Yep. But and to my mind, that's Paul and I talk about this in the office. That's where we see the real opportunity for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Solar farms in Africa, right? Like they have the solar resource, they need the power, the demand is only growing. And although we're mad mobile users and our gadgets and our tech, I don't know, give it 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we'd love to be the folk on the ground actually hooking up these villages to renewable energy, you know?
Yeah. I think all it would take was like the right partnership with the right people to the right place, right time for all that to kind of kick off, I'd imagine.
Yep.
You're obviously, like I keep saying, like your passion is there, but is it hard to kind of keep ensuring people buy the power banks? Like, are you wanting to constantly progress the product offering, or are you, because obviously it was power banks, but now you do phone cases, cables, all this kind of stuff. Like, where do you see the product offering going in the future as well from your side?
Constantly evolving, right? Like it's like a moving target. Mobile accessories,
Oh my god, I can imagine.
Like
different sizes, different every 6 months or something like that.
Yep. Different charging technology, different cables. And this is why we're really pleased with who we're working with on the supply side, product design side that we're now working with, where it's like I'm an Apple user, so are you by the looks of things. And with it being mobile tech, I sort of justify it as a no, Captain wife. I know I need the latest iPhone because I sell power banks, right? Like I absolutely have to have the latest iPhone, and I'll queue to go and get it. But it's every 12 months, right? Like every October we'll see a new handset. It's fingers crossed going to be an awesome brand new iPhone.
Yeah.
But the market's constantly moving. So for us, portable power, we'll be innovating. We're on to our second version of the Wii Pal. We've got the sample in the office, the prototypes for the third one. We're on to the second of the Big Pal. Again, we probably think in the next 12 months we'll be updating that one as well.
Yeah.
Phone cases is a challenge. It's a real challenge, and it's a real ball ache because when we, as I said, like, so cork cases, we do them in four flavors for 6 handsets.
4 flavors,
right?
That's a brilliant way of doing it.
For the
I have the light green course or something.
Yeah.
It is absolutely lovely, by the way. And another thing that I would love about this is I just had like one of the Apple ones, which skinned me bloody 50 clams.
A lot of money.
This certainly was one of the most affordable phone cases. It's thinner than my Apple one.
There you go.
And it doesn't get as bloody grubby.
Yep.
So I'm a total OCD maniac. So
Incredible.
a non-grubby phone case is
nice.
I'm down with that, but yeah.
Phone cases is hard though. I think we need to be.
Yeah. By the time you probably get it in your hands, another one's come out.
It's come straight out. So yeah, and I think we, from the sort of consumer insight part, like being an iPhone fanatic, I had perhaps assumed that more folk had like the absolute latest handsets. However, we have, when we do direct trading it, we did Belladrum Music Festival, folk rocking up with like an iPhone SE. I'm like, mate, that's like 6 years old. Like no one's doing cases for that these days, you know. But there's more of them asking than you would realize.
Said with such disdain, mate, get yourself a new phone and come back.
Get a new phone, goodness me, yeah. But yeah, a massive amount of iPhone 10 XR and XX Max stock in the office, but not a lot of iPhone 6 at the moment.
That's awesome. What's been like some of the biggest learning curves from that sorry, rephrase that. What's been some of the biggest things that you've taken away that you've applied to other things that you've done in your life that you've learned from running Power Life?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think the perseverance, that's certainly been key to a lot of this. I think having a thick skin, right? Like I think social media to my mind is kind of terrifying. I think it's really scary. Where
I had my first troll with
oh
the
really?
podcast the other
Well,
day.
how did you react?
It
How
was
did it
like,
make you feel?
so like I've got a more of a, it's not even a love hate relationship. It's just a hate and must relationship with social media.
Okay.
I 2 years ago quit it all. I've discussed this in the podcast before. Just kept LinkedIn because LinkedIn's more work
Yep.
related and
Yep.
it's not filled with guff. Came across you guys, for example. So, but I felt the need that I'm going to need to do something to help get the word of the podcast out there. So I
Yep.
got Twitter back.
Yep.
Literally, so I can't even remember what tweet it was, but just some random with like 10 followers, just clearly a troll. And you
Yep.
go to their profile and it's just filled with, you hear other podcasters talk about it all the time, these trolls. And it was just like something about what I had said in the tweet was a load of marketing guff.
Wow.
And it's just like, oh my God, it boiled my blood.
Yeah. Would.
And it was just like, you know what? Actually, the guy's clearly a loser or girl. I don't know what it was,
Yep.
who it was. Even, I'm not gonna obviously rise to it. The guy, it's just a
Yep.
troll online, but I can imagine, yeah, it's a pretty vicious place.
I don't like it. I mean, it doesn't happen often, right? I would, but it did happen recently, and this is why. So it was on and we're we're on all the channels, right? Like we're distributing the content, etc., etc. Twitter's the one I use the least. I never got into Twitter, but we got a tweet from some guy, and I won't name names, but it was like just straight up, where do you make your products? So we said Far East in China,
Yeah.
and his reply was, so I just assume all of the economic and social benefit goes to the Chinese then. And I was like, right, I'm on holiday up north with a family. I've got terrible signal, and it just ruined my day. Where it's not even worth getting into.
Yeah.
Loads of followers, clearly a keyboard warrior into his politics, followed by First Minister, for example. So I'm like, is it worth? And this is on the PAL account. So I'm like, is it worth even getting into it to be like, Scottish company, pay our taxes here, high quality jobs here, pay
Yeah.
all of the VAT, right, and exporting Scottish entrepreneurialism and impact to the least developed countries
Yeah.
in like what 50 characters on Twitter, right? Like with no signal at all up north. I'm like, no, I just didn't even reply. But
Yeah.
I do find social media to be quite terrifying,
Yeah.
quite a scary
But
place.
I'm thankful to everyone who follows the show, but it's annoying that if you don't have it, you're at like such a huge disadvantage now.
Can't do it without it.
Because I really think that the mental health downfalls of social media.
Yep.
Oh my God, just
I'd
astronomical.
hate to be a kid in school these days.
Oh my word! I mean, it
Can you
would be
imagine?
like, not only do you have to deal with a bully at school, but it continues into the night with
Online,
people giving
all
you
day.
shit all day,
Yeah.
all night,
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. And and the best thing you can do is report them,
Right.
and what the hell's going to happen there, you know? But dwelling into other territory here, but bringing it back to positive stuff.
Yeah. Bring it back.
Doing what you're doing, kind of, a small but successful business, doing social good. Do you ever get kind of overwhelmed anytime? And then, or just like you've got a million and one things on, so you just kind of, you're so focused that you become unfocused, if that makes sense. And then what do you do to kind of combat that?
Well, hopefully none of my investors will hear this, but I think it's so busy that we're maybe a little unfocused.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think, it is difficult keeping all the plates spinning because there's so many spinning at any one time. I don't know. There will be occasions where you will get that email where like you just go cold and you're like frozen from the computer, being like, "That's not what I wanted to read
Yeah.
right now." Yeah, I think on the flip side though, you'll sometimes get a random email and you're like, "Wow, geez, that's like a ton of kids empowered," and that came out of nowhere. And yeah, I don't know. You can. I feel that you can have the really high highs and the really low lows. It can be within the space of 2 emails. Like it can be an emotional roller coaster. Like you do need that sort of grit and determination
and the thick skin
to sort of see it through.
Us Scots have pretty thick skin, though, I'd like to say.
I think so.
Yeah, we can take a lot. But you do quite a bit of like vlogging on LinkedIn and other kind of social channels, obviously, just documenting the journey of Power Life and what you're up to at weekends.
Yeah,
Like when you sing you're at Belladrum, those ones are awesome. Like, is that a purposeful thing that you've decided to do, or has that kind of come a bit naturally to you? Or
it took practice. Like
the best one I saw, by the way, is when your pal's like lens cap fell on the canal in Amsterdam. That was like, to catch those moments in a
it's the first
quick vlog. It was just brilliant.
The first like camera out the bag, press record, and there's Charlie losing the lens cap. And like it couldn't have been staged. No, it is basically the crux of our inbound. Right, not outbound is cold calling, and it's the crux. It's the basis of our inbound marketing strategy, and it took practice. So I mean, they're all publicly available on YouTube, right? Like Jeremie Warner, spelled with an IE. It took time. It took practice. They're never perfect, right? I am my harshest critic when it comes to it.
Know how that feels.
Right. Yeah.
Listening to my own voice makes me want to.
It's it.
A little bit of me dies every single time.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. No, I need, because when you're editing,
different. You're visual as well. Like at least I can hide behind a microphone.
Either is tough, because when you're scrolling through and scrubbing, and you're like, I need to watch it again and again and again and again. But it's proved to be really, really powerful for a number of reasons. Firstly, we had to find the right channel. So for us, it's LinkedIn now. Because again, Gary V, thank you, Gary. He's been saying it for a long time. So one of his guys at a Vid Summit in Dublin last year was like, get on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn are so desperate. And I'm plugging Gary and LinkedIn, but LinkedIn are so desperate for original content in their feed that they are artificially increasing and inflating the reach. So every like and comment on a post counts as a share on LinkedIn. So you're getting like 3 times the reach. So every time, so if you like one of my videos, for example, all of your followers will see my piece of content, because LinkedIn are trying to increase linger time on the platform, and it works best when posted from a personal page, not a company page. And if you post the video directly to LinkedIn, because they don't want folk going to YouTube from the platform. The second thing is that the BTS, behind the scenes vlogging, it helps to build trust with potential customers. So I've had it where a potential customer has seen a piece of content, got in touch, asked for the call, and it has immediately built trust with that customer, because they feel like they know me because they've seen me on camera. So I think, it's proved, the vlog has proved to be a really, really powerful tool for driving sales, inbound sales, and building trust with corporate customers.
Yeah, sure. And other than that, like, how else do kind of people tend to, do you know where they kind of tend to come from in terms of how they discover Power of Life? Is it just word of mouth? Is it, because it even popped up on like a Slack group that I'm a part of.
Oh, there you go.
Because somebody, for instance, what were they talking about? Having a
awesome social enterprises based in Scotland, hopefully.
They were talking about, has anybody had a good experience with, like, goodie bags at an event? We're about to do an event. What's some of the cool stuff you've had at like a goodie bag at an event? And somebody, like, not me, I was about to jump in with Power of Life, but not me, basically jumped in and was like, check out these guys who do portable charging packs, but it's also a good, social message.
Yeah.
And they're like, got a good feel, like, so
where are we getting our customer? Well, B2C we're not really focused on anymore, right? Like, it's one that we're like, we know there's an opportunity. We dabbled the first time round, we dabbled the second time round. We're like, we're just not getting that click through, that conversion, and we're not getting the ROI that we wanted. So B2B is where we're fishing at the moment. What's most effective, I think, is direct sales at conferences and events, where you're speaking to potential customers directly, and you can build that relationship and rapport very quickly. Word of mouth is super powerful. And then the LinkedIn video, the vlogging.
Yeah.
I think we are now getting to a point where it's like it's approaching like a critical mass, where there's enough of all that activity going on that it just the wheels start to turn. So, like you've said, it's like, I'm super fascinated because it's the business, but that first video we posted was the behind the scenes of the Edinburgh Uni Order. it was a lady called Louise who then saw that from Oil and Gas UK, said I'd like 50 and could you come and exhibit at the conference? We then went to the conference and we picked up BP, a company called DNVGL, massive Norwegian company, and we've then got 2 other conversations ongoing. So it's a combination of all of it, right? Like there's the LinkedIn vlog, there was the attending the conference, then there's the word of mouth, the gift recipients, and then there's the follow-up inbound
Yeah.
as well.
That's
So
awesome.
it's a bit of everything.
And then, like, if we haven't explained it clearly enough, people can obviously co-brand the products with you,
Yeah.
so they can get their logo on it and everything like that, and smash whatever they want on a power pack.
Yeah,
But-
within reason, right?
yeah. Well, don't give me a laser printer; there'll be something
Right.
crudely drawn penis drawn on it. But also, you guys are doing something kind of different on the lead up to Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So this Christmas we are doing double giving. So for every power bank sold, we're going to give 2 solar lights. Looking to get 3,000 lights in the hands of kids this Christmas. Louise from Oil and Gas UK got us off the mark.
Yeah, quite right.
So 500 lights thanks to Oil and Gas UK. But yeah, so we never turn away business, right? Like we're trying to increase the minimum order quantity to 50 pieces because it takes time and hours in the back cave engraving all these power banks. But for orders between now and Christmas, we'll be doing 2 solar lights for every power bank sold.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like what? Like you can't get down with that.
Who can argue, right? Like,
I know. Where can people like find out more about Power Life?
Powerlife.com. Simple as
Social
that.
media links. Where
We're on everything, right? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Have I missed any? I think we'll have. Well, yeah, those are the ones. And search for Power A Life and we'll be on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
My
It's
pleasure.
been really enjoyed talking to you. I was really looking forward to this one. Not only do I really obviously hope that Power Life keep going forward for your benefit, but obviously the kind of work you're doing and kind of the actual model that you guys have is awesome. And screw it, let's finish with a promo. I have got 2 of the pals myself, and honestly, these power packs are awesome.
Thanks very much.
I've got a phone case made out of cork, which looks the bee's knees. It's thinner than my Apple case. They actually charge your phone mega quick, quicker than I thought they were going to be. Actually,
They do.
And yeah, they're just fucking ace. And like, if you're in the power pack market, why wouldn't you buy one that also donates a solar lamp to a
It's
kid?
a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
In fact, if you don't buy one and you buy another power
Yeah,
pack,
yeah.
then you are a terrible person. No, just joking.
Appreciate that. Thanks very much.
And obviously, if you buy one this quarter, Power Life are donating 2 lamps, as you just said. So how awesome is that? Honestly, though, awesome message. Love it.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
No, thank you very much for coming on. So to wrap up, as per usual, folks, please head over to the website, themitmpodcast.com. That's themitmpodcast.com. You can find out more about the show, more about me, find all the other episodes and platform links. Head over to your favorite platform and hit the subscribe or follow button to make sure you get notified when the next episode goes up. And while you're there, please leave a review. It not only lets me know what you guys think, but it also helps bring other people into the show because they see that it's obviously an awesome show and helps me climb those Apple ranks. So that's it from us here. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you found some method in the madness.